Hi everyone. In this video, we're going to calculate the mean using GeoGebra. So let me pull up our sample data. So this is the data we've seen in the last few videos with number of miles jogged per day. And I'm going to pull up GeoGebra. So to get to this website, you're looking at geogebra.org/calculator. You can just do a Google search for GeoGebra and it should pop up, or there is a link on our Canvas website. Just like the TI-84s, the first thing we have to do is get data into lists. In GeoGebra, you need to give the list a name. Doesn't matter what you call it. I usually just use capital letters. So I'm going to call this list A. And then you type all of the data separated by commas inside of curly brackets. If you use anything other than curly brackets, GeoGebra is going to tackle it like it's a function and not a list of data. We don't want that. So curly brackets are important. Once you're done entering that list, you should press enter and that saves it in GeoGebra's working memory under the name A. So I can call this list in any other function. So the next thing I'm going to do is call mean. And if we highlight over mean, it asks for one of two things. It asks for a list of raw data or a list of numbers and frequencies. We have a list of raw data, so we're just going to type parentheses and then our list name and hit enter. And you'll notice this says 2.985. In our previous examples, we got 2.99, which makes me think I may have mistyped something in our list. I did look at that, so I'm going to come back here and fix that. That last number should be 3.9. And you'll notice when I made the correction in the list, anything that comes after the list that calls on it also self-adjusts. So it corrected itself to 2.9. I would strongly encourage you to use GeoGebra on a laptop or a desktop, as bigger screens are your friend, and working with a keyboard and mouse tends to make navigating GeoGebra easier, but this also works on tablets and cell phones. All right, so let's go ahead and do the same thing with grouped data. So I'm going to come back over to our Google Sheets and switch over to our group data. We have our pre-constructed frequency distribution. Again, just like the TI-84, GeoGebra needs class midpoints and frequencies. Also like the TI-84, we can calculate the midpoints. So I'm going to construct two lists, lower limits, and then I'm going to create a list of upper limits, and then I'm going to let GeoGebra find the midpoints for us. So first, the lower limits, 1, 6, 11, 16, and 21. And then I'm going to create a list for upper limits, UL, 5, 10, 15, 20, and 25. And then I'm going to enter a formula. I want a list of midpoints to be the lower limits plus the upper limits divided by 2. And when I do that, you'll notice it creates a list with the name MP with the numbers 3, 8, 13, 18, and 23, the midpoints for our classes. Next thing I need to do is enter those frequencies. I'm going to create a list F with our frequencies 6, 9, 5, 3, and 2. And this time when I call the function mean, I'm going to give it midpoint and frequency. Mean, and then, oops, a little ahead of myself here, mean, midpoint, comma, frequency. And it spits out that exact same value we've seen on the TI-84 and by hand, 10.2. So in GeoGebra, you call the same function for both raw and grouped data. If it's just raw data, you're feeding it a single list. If it's grouped data, you're feeding it midpoints and then frequencies. All right, if you have any questions, let me know. Otherwise, I will see you in our next video.